Hello everyone and welcome back to Tinderloss Gaming and welcome to Solo Scenario Shenanigans Episode 4. This scenario is going to see Jaqueline, or Jackie, take on the Carnevale of Horrors, which is what Zoe did last time. Zoe's attempt at the Carnevale of Horrors is in the playlist if you want to go and have a look at it. No spoilers, good game. Right, let's get across to the status of where we're at in regards to the tracking of the games. So here we are at the scenario tracker. We can see that Jackie won against the Curse of the Rogaroo. Zoe unfortunately lost. So Zoe's turn to go first against the Carnival, and she unfortunately lost as well. So out of 3 games, we've won 1. 33% win rate, which in regards to Arkham Horror, I think I'll take. Hopefully, we'll be able to get to a 50% win rate today with Jackie, but we'll wait and see. Just keeping a nice little track of these, just for a bit of fun, see how we can do. Tracking the rounds as well and what victory points they got at the end of each of the scenarios. So Jackie is currently got 1 XP and Zoe's got 4 XP that she's won or lost depending on your point of view. So I don't know, Jackie's winning, Zoe's winning, who knows, who cares, it's fun. Right, so let's get across to the table and start the setup of Carnevale. Here we go. I should have said actually in the first video for each of the players, so Zoe's first video and Jackie's first video, again in the playlist, I do go in depth into the deck lists I'm using for this these playthroughs. I'm sticking to the same deck. They've got 19 XP each, 18 or 19 XP each, just for a bit of fun. So they've got an additional weakness in their deck. Jackie's deck actually seems to be working pretty well. Quite pleased with it. But if you want to go and have a look at a more in-depth review of the deck list, there are timestamps in the videos. You can go and have a look and check them out and come back and watch. So here we are at the setup of the Carnevale of Horrors. We've got a few bits to do, which I'll run through fairly quickly. We've got we've got a new playmat as well, bought off Etsy. Just to sort of tidy things up a little bit and keep myself in order. But I'll put a link in the description below if you fancy picking one of these up. Really good quality mouse mat. I can't remember the person or the seller's name offhand at the moment, but like I said, I will put a link in the description below. Very quick turnaround, decent price. I think it was like £8, £9, £9, whatever that it works out into US dollars. But very pleased with that. So let's just have a quick look at the Carnevale of Horrors and go through the setup. So I'll read the intro, and it says, "The Carnival is coming. Look," Sheriff Ingle insists. "I know it sounds crazy, but that's really all there is to it." He sighs and sits back down, pouring a cup of joe for you and one for himself. Damien Uptown spotted a cracked egg wearing this mask and holding a bloody butcher's cleaver, he says, motioning to the black leather mask sitting on his desk. It has a comically long nose and a strange symbol scrawled in yellow on its forehead. So she calls it in. My boys and I pick him up at the corner of Sultanstall and Garrison. The sheriff's jaw clenches and his brow furrows as he recounts the story. Fella did nothing but laugh as we slapped the bracelets on him. Called himself Zanny. Said nothing except the carnival is coming. Whatever the hell that meant. Wasn't until the next day we found the victim's body. Defence wanted him in a straitjacket and we were happy to oblige. There isn't much time to spare. If your research is right, there is more to this case than meets the eye. This Zanny wasn't talking about Dark's carnival, but rather the Carnival of Venice, which begins just before the next full moon. Dun, dun, dun. Right. So we're going across to setup. It says, gather all of the cards from the Carnival of Horrors encounter set indicated by this icon, which I've done. Choose one location at random and remove it from the game. If the San Marco Basilica or Canal Side is chosen, randomly choose a different location instead. So what I've done is I put those two to one side, and then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We've got 7 locations. I'll roll a d8. Hopefully I won't get an 8. Oh, I think that is an 8. Is it? Yeah, it is an 8. 7. So the 7th one, the bottom one's going to be discarded. Academia Bridge is gone. So we know that's not being used. So that's that. Put the other 8 locations into play in a random circular formation. Each investigator begins play at San Marco Basilica. Put Abbess Allegra de Baez into play at the San Marco Basilica. I'm going to read all this first, and then I'm going to do it off camera, and then I'll come back. It then says, shuffle the masked carnival goers, which are these things here. Oh, don't want to see that. We'll shuffle those up. They're going to go randomly at each location. These cards here, Abyss is going to go into play, so I'll put her there. These other ones are monsters and all sorts of stuff. I'm not going to show the camera that. They go to one side. And shuffle the remainder of the encounter deck, which I'll do off camera. So what I'll do quickly now is I'll set the game up and I'll come back. For you, it will be a matter of mere milliseconds. For me, it will probably be about half an hour. Right, I'll see you in a sec. Okay, right, we're back. We put all of our locations into play, randomly. Now, the way this scenario works, having played it once now, and once back in the day, they're all connected in a circle. You can only go forwards. You can't go backwards. There are some things in the encounter deck that do play with that, but basically, I'm going from right to left there, and then left to right, and all the way around. I've got my Etsy tokens out connectors, but there wasn't quite enough to finish off. So these are double ones, but they actually only mean you're only going one way. So in this, finally, I wanted to do this on camera. I'm going to shuffle up the masked carnival goers, and I'll place one at each location. So Streets of Venice, Venetian Gardens, the Guardian, Blooded Square, Bridge of Sighs, Canal Side, and the Vilarte Bridge. Okay, that's that bit set up. So let's now look at our act and agenda. So let's have a look at agenda 1A. Okay, right, let's have a look at the agendas. First of all, let's have a look at agenda 1A. Agenda 1A says, last minute ocean liner tickets from Boston to Italy set you back a fair bit of day. But after a tense journey, you arrive in Venice. The Carnival has already begun, and the city is in celebration. Colourful confetti rains from above, covering the streets. Many revellers throng on the Piazza San Marco, the square outside the Basilica. The parade is to begin shortly. You find the nearest uniformed Carbonaria, and show him a copy of the symbol you'd transcribed from Zanni's mask. He pauses to decide your trustworthiness, nods, and escorts you into the Basilica to see the Abbess Allegra. It's got a doom of 8 on it, so a little bit of time, but as with all things Arkham Horror, that soon goes. So that's Agenda 1A. Then let's have a look at Act 1A. Carnival Conspiracy. The Abbess addresses you privately, so you know what is coming. You nod. Then you know what must be done. They are using the celebration as a sacrifice for their wretched master. Bring as many innocents as you can here, where I can protect them. But beware, the creature's servants will try to blend into the crowd with their false masks. And as an action, we can spend a clue. We are playing true solo, so it's just one clue as a group. Look at the other side of a masked carnival goer at any location. So we'll be able to look rather than flip. We can look. Now, having played this with Zoe, and with all things Arkham Horror, actions are key. So we can spend an action to flip it, but if it's an enemy, it attacks us straight away. So I need to remember that. Or we can use an action, spend a clue to just look at it, but we're wasting an action, debatably. But anyway, we'll see. And then it says objective. If there are 3 innocent revelers underneath the act and or agenda decks, advance. So if there's 3 in total underneath either of those, then we're going to advance the act. Obviously, I think the more we have under the act, probably the better for us. The more we have under the agenda, probably the worse for us. But we'll see where that takes us. And then the final thing to look at before we kick off is the token group, or the tokens. We're playing on easy, standard. They are both the same. The chaos bag is the same for easy and standard. So we've got the skull symbol, which is -2. And this token has an additional -1 for each innocent reveler underneath the agenda deck. The cultist is reveal another token. If you fail this test, draw the top card of the encounter deck. The tablet is -3. If you fail, deal 1 damage or 1 horror to the nearest innocent reveler in play. And then the heart is -4. If you fail, Nidithaka is in and Nidithaka is in play, it attacks you. So there we go. We are good to go. We've got all of our stats up in the top left-hand corner sorted. We've got 6 health. We've got 9 sanity. We start off with 5 resources. We've got no clues currently and no doom, and it's 0 rounds. So, final thing left for me to do on camera is to give the encounter cards a shuffle. I always like to do this. It was one of the final things I do on screen. Give it a good old shuffle. We'll cut a cat weasel cut, and then we'll put those back there. Then we're going to shovel our player deck. Probably doing things slightly out of order here, as in the technical way of doing things. You're supposed to do all this before you set the campaign up, or the scenario. And then we'll do a cat weasel cut. And then we'll draw our opening hand of 5 cards. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's see what we've got. We have got the Holy Rosary. 2 cost item. I get +1 will, and it's got 2 sanity on it. I think that's a keeper. We've got a weakness, so we'll draw another card. We've got a weakness, we'll draw another card. We've got Ward of Protection. Probably not going to keep that. Hypnotic Gaze. Fast. Play when an enemy attacks an investigator at your location, can cancel it, and then reveal a token from the bag. And if we reveal a symbol, we deal that attacking enemy's damage to itself. Good, but I don't think I'm going to keep it. Ritual Candles. I can, as a reaction, after I draw a symbol, during a test, I get +1 for that skill test. So 1 hand item. I'm going to lose that, I think. And then we've got Shriveling, which is a spell, uses 4 charges. I can use my fight, it's a fight action, and I use my will instead of my fight, and it deals +1 damage. I will keep hold of that. So I'm going to redraw another 3. So I'm going to get Familiar Spirit, get 1 additional arcane item slot. I've got Drawn to the Flame. Draw the top card of the encounter deck, then discover 2 clues at your location. And then we've got Uncage the Soul. Play a spell or ritual card from your hand, reducing its resource cost by 3. We'll obviously keep that. So those go there. We'll put those back into the deck. Those obviously go as well. Oops. Another shuffle. And then a cat weasel cut. And I think we are good to go. I think we are good to go. Right. So we're on round 1. We missed the mythos phase. We go to the investigation phase. Let's bring this over here so I can see it. Round sequence. Right. Okay. We've turned over the San Marco Basilica. That's got San Marco is connected to the location in the clockwise direction. Pretty much all of those locations have that written on it, so I won't read it out every time I turn a card over. Just take it as read that it's got it. And here I've got an action: place an innocent reveler you control underneath the act deck out of place. San Marco Basilica is the only place you can put innocent revelers under the act deck. Right, so what are we going to do? Well, first of all, I think we're going to play Uncage the Soul to play Shriveling, which is a spell. We reduced the cost by 3 because of Uncage the Soul. Shriveling is 3, so it doesn't actually cost us anything. It does cost us an action, though. And that comes in with 4 charges on it. I'm using my LCG tokens today. Put a link in the description below if you want to pick those up. They're nice and shiny. So that's Shriveling. I'll spend another action to pay 1 resource, taking me down to 4. To play Familiar Spirit, which is an ally. We'll put that there, which is the ally slot. I have an additional arcane slot, which can only be used to hold a spell asset. And then my third and final action, this is a bit of a setup turn, really. I'm going to pay 2 to play the Holy Rosary. Gives me +1 will, and I've got 2 sanity on it. And I think that is it for round 1. Fairly straightforward and standard first turn for Arkham Horror. Right, okay, so we move out of the investigation phase. We move to the enemy phase. There are no enemies in play. So we move straight across to the upkeep phase. We reset our actions. We ready any exhausted cards, none to ready. We draw a card. Oh, another Shriveling. This is the Uber version, the XP version. Gets 4 charges. Spend a charge to fight. I use my will. It does. I get +2 will and deal +1 damage. So slightly better. And we're going to gain a resource, taking me back up or back to 3. Or I was down. I spent 1, so let's take that down to 3. So I've got 3 in total. Check our hand size. We've got 2, so we're all good. And then we move to the mythos phase of round 2. So mythos phase, first of all, we put a doom on the agenda. So that goes up by 1. We advance to the agenda if the doom threshold is satisfied, miles from it, and then we draw our encounter card. And we are going to get Watcher's Gaze. Test will 4. Each investigator who controls an innocent reveler must also perform this skill test. Each investigator who fails takes 1 horror, which must be assigned to an innocent reveler first. So we are a will currently of 6. Holy Rosary, 5 is standard. Holy Rosary is +1. So we'll stick at 2. With 2 to the good. 6 versus 4. How's the chaos bag being today? 6 versus 4. That is a skull, which is -2. So we equal it. We go down to 4, which is the same. We pass. We move out of the mythos phase. We go to the investigation phase. Right, let's get this party started. I'm going to tap the Abbess to give Jackie a free move to the streets of Venice. Streets of Venice is 2 shrouds, 2 clues, and as a free action, I can move to the location in a clockwise direction. So that comes in with 2 clues on it. Shroud of 2. So no action so far. What I think I will do, I very rarely play this card, but I think I'm going to play Drawn to the Flame for my first action. Draw the top card of the encounter deck, then discover 2 clues at your location. Bit of a risk, but let's go for it. We have got Watcher's Gaze. We know what that is. That's a test of 4 against 6. So we'll keep that as a standard. 4 versus 2. Sorry, 6 versus 4. And we've got -2. We pass. Good old Drawn to the Flame. We get 2 clues. So 1, 2. Now, I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to try and play this slightly cautiously. It says, I am going to spend a clue for an action. Spend one of those clues to back down to 1. To do the action, I'm going to look at the other side of the masked carnival, go at the location. So I'm not flipping this. I'm just going to look to see what it is. What is it? It is a not very nice person, Savio Corby. Now, because I haven't flipped him, he goes back to there like that. So as a free action, we don't need to worry about him now. I'm going to move to the next location using Streets of Venice. So we're going to move up here and we're going to flip the Venetian garden. And that's got 3 clues on so shroud of 3, 1 clue per investigator. And I can spend 2 actions and spend 2 resources to heal 2 horror. So that is there. Running out of space here. Let's put Jackie there. It comes in with 1 clue per investigator. And for my final action, for my final action, I'm going to risk it for a biscuit. No, because if I flip that masked carnival goer now, it's going to, if it is an enemy, it will attack me straight away, and then it will attack me in the next enemy phase. So I'm not going to do, I'm going to draw a card. My final action, I'm going to stay there, but I'm going to draw a card, and I'm going to get Hypnotic Gaze. Fast, play when an enemy attacks you, cancel the attack. That's good. That's good. Okay, that's it for the investigation phase. We move on to the enemy phase. There are no revealed enemies in play, so we move on. We move on to the upkeep phase. We ready and exhaust. I should have readied the Abyss, but she didn't really make any difference. We get our actions back. I could have been using Jackie's. I need to remember to use Jackie's ability to draw more than 1 token out of the board. So we've readied everything. We've set our actions. We're going to draw a card. Ritual Candles. A hand slot. Then we are going to gain a resource. So we're going to go up to 4. We're going to check our hand size. We've got 3 in hand, so we're all good. We move out of the upkeep phase. We move to the mythos phase of round 3, and we put a doom on the agenda, which goes to 2 of 8. We draw our encounter card. We are going to get Writhing Appendage. 2 fight, 2 health, 4 to evade. It's a monster tentacle. It's got retaliate. Forced, after Writhing Appendage attacks you, discard a random card from your hand. And forced, when Writhing Appendage is defeated, if Nindithika is in play, deal 1 damage to Nindithika. So let's just make a bit of space here. That's a monster that's engaged with us. It comes in engaged. That's not too bad. I'll take to the investigation phase. Well, first things first, we're going to spend a charge off of shriveling to attack using my will. I am going to tap Jackie's ability here, which means I'm going to draw an additional 2 tokens out of the chaos bag. So we're fighting with 6 versus 2. 6 versus 2, and I'm drawing 3 tokens. 6 versus 2. Oh. 6 versus 2. Now, what I'm going to do here is I have to ignore 2 of these tokens. Now, daftly, clearly I'm going to ignore the -6. I'm also going to ignore the Elder Sign, because I know that's -2, because there's no Innocent Revelers under the agenda deck. So that will be ignored. And Jackie's effect is, it's +1, so I'm 7 versus 2, which means I really do pass. If this effect is cancelled or ignored, draw a card. So I'm going to ignore it. I'm going to take that one, which is -2, which means I pass. And I'm going to draw a card. I get Ward of Protection. Okay. We need some stuff to investigate. That's my problem at the minute. So that was my first action. That obviously also, the fight does +1 damage. So I'm doing 2 damage to the Writhing Appendage, which kills it. So that was my first action. Again, I think I'm gonna play a bit of a setup here. I'm gonna pay 1 action and 1 resource. So I'm down to 3. To play Ritual Candles. Now I've got the Uber Shriveling, but that costs 3, which doesn't leave. I want to leave myself 1 resource because I've got Ward of Protection, so I can cancel a revelation, a treachery, non-weakness treachery card. But if I played Shriveling, I wouldn't have any resources left to play Ward. Oh no, I get a resource actually in my upkeep phase. So I will pay my final action. Pay 3 to play another Shriveling, which comes in with 4 charges. That has used all of our resources, so we'll reset those down to 0. And that is it for my turn. That is it for my turn. We come out of the investigation phase. We go to the enemy phase. No revealed enemies in play. We've killed the Writhing Appendage. We move to the upkeep phase. We'd ready any cards. So we ready Jackie. That's it. We draw a card. We get Uncaged the Soul. Could have done with that a few minutes ago. that's all good. We gained a resource. So we've got our one resource in place should we need it for water protection. We move out of that to the mythos phase of round 4, and we put a doom on the agenda, takes it to 3. And knowing we've got water protection, we're going to draw our encounter card, which is going to be Poleman. 4 fight, 4 health, 2 agility, monster, deep 1, spawn, canal side, prey, most innocent revelers controlled, and he's got hunter. So where it, canal side is down here. So I need to remember bloody Poleman's in play. So I always forget to move hunters. So right, in your head, MB, in your head, there's a hunter out. Could have been worse. Could have been worse. I really need to get some. Some investigation stuff going on. So we move out there. We move into the investigation phase. We're fairly well set up in regards to cards we need. Poleman isn't in play with us. So at this point, I've got 3 actions. I could be doing a maximum of 4 damage to any enemy. I'm going to risk it. So I should have reset my actions there. So my first action is to spend the clue, and I am going to flip this masked carnival goer. So we're not looking at it, we are flipping it. Deep breath, MB. Here we go. Yes! Innocent Reveler. Right. Okay, so that has got an action. Parlay test 2 book. 2 intellect to convince the Reveler to follow you to safety. If you succeed, take control of the Innocent Reveler. Forced, when Innocent Reveler would be discarded, place it underneath the agenda deck out of play, and each investigator takes 1 horror. It's got 2 health and 2 sanity. So currently it's not with us. So for my second action, we obviously are going to have a crack at a parlay. Parlay of 2 against 3. I am going to play a water protection to take it to 4 versus 2. And I will use Jackie's ability to bring more than 1, to bring 2 additional out. So I'm taking 3, discarding 2. And it's 4 versus 2. 1, 2, 3. 4 versus 2. Well, we can cancel the -4 and we can cancel the skull. We've got the -1, which means we get hold of the Innocent Reveler. Comes into play with us. So let's put her over there so we know what's going on. And I think for my third action, I'm going to leave that clue there. Shroud of 3. Could be a mistake. And I am going to move to the next location, which is the Guardian. And that's going to be 3 shroud, 2 clues per investigator. After you enter the Guardian, draw a card. Lovely. So let's just get that sorted. So Innocent Carnival Goer goes back there. No, Jackie's there. Comes in with 2 clues per investigator. And after we enter it, we draw a card, which is going to be Arbiter of Fates. Lovely. That's Jackie's special, basically. So basically, what the wording means is I could use her ability twice. When I use it the first time, I can tap this to ignore. It doesn't count towards the limit. So that's very good. And that was Jackie's third action to move. So that is it for the investigation phase. We move to the enemy phase. Now we have got our hunter pole man who is going to move in a clockwise direction. He can't go backwards. He's got to go forwards. So he's going to go to Relato Bridge. He's going to basically come around and chase us. No other enemies in play. Just double checking. That's all good. We move to the upkeep phase. We ready any cards. We gain our actions back. We draw a card and gain a resource. Draw a card. Oh, here we go. Dark Future. Revelation. Put Dark Future into play in your threat area. I cannot cancel or ignore any symbols. Forced at the end of your turn, reveal 5 random tokens from the Chaos bag. If the Elder Sign symbol is revealed, discard Dark Future. That is a pain. That is a complete pain. We get a resource, so we're up to 2 resources. We check our hand size. We've got 3 cards of 8, so we're all good. We move out of the upkeep phase. We move into the Mythos phase of turn 5, and we put a Doom on the agenda. So we're halfway through now. 4 of 8. And we draw our encounter card. Carnevale Sentinel. Spawn. The location across from you. Retaliate. You cannot look at the other side of a masked carnival goers at the Sentinel's location using the abilities. You've got to basically kill him first before you can access him. So he's going to be hanging out. The location opposite you is the Relato Bridge. So he's going to go there, but he hasn't got Hunter. He's just going to hang out. So let's just split these 2. So I know there's 2 enemies there. I'm now running out of table space a little bit. Again, could have been worse. Could have been worse. I do need to try and get... bloody my intellect up a little bit. But anyway, that's it for the Mythos phase. We move to the investigation phase. I need some clues. I need some clues. I've got nothing in play. I've got nothing in play that's going to help. And with Dark Future, I can't really use Jackie's ability. It was very dodgy too. It's 3 versus 3. Right, first action, I'm going to take a risk. First action is to gain a resource. Up to 3. Second action is to spend those 3 resources to put in Arbiter of Fates. Taking me down to 0, 0. Bear with. Right, I just wanted to get a little token out to show, rather than keep tapping Arbiter of Fate, so I've got to use a little token to show I've used it. So, third action, I am going to attempt an investigate here, 3 versus 3. I've got nothing I can chuck into it. I've only got Uncaged Soul, which has got no intellect tokens icons on it, and the same as Hypnotic Gaze hasn't got any intellect tokens on it icons. I'm going to use Jackie's ability, but I'm going to tap Arbiter of Fates, so I'll put my little token on there to say I've tapped it. I'm going to draw 3, but Dark Future means I can't ignore any symbols. Taking a risk. MB is taking a risk. We'll draw 3. I've got 3. First one is a +1. Second one is a, oh God, -3. And the third one is a -3. So I can't ignore that one because of Dark Future. So I have to ignore those two, unfortunately. And that means it's -3, which means I fail. It was worth it. It was worth a go. It was worth a go. Right. So that's it for the investigation phase. We're going to move to the enemy phase. The pole man is going to move. He's going to go and hang out with the abbess. The Carnevale sentinel is going to stay where he is. No other enemies in play. We're going to move out of the enemy phase. We're going to move into the upkeep phase. We're going to ready any cards. So Arbiter of Fates comes back online. We'll reset our actions. We will gain a resource. 1 resource now. And we're going to draw a card. Be something to help me with investigations. Be something to help me with investigations. Boom. Book of Shadows. Oh, that's quite good. That's quite good. It's 4 cost though. But what it allows me to do, I've got an additional arcane slot, which is good. And also I can use an action to exhaust it and add a charge to a spell asset, which is really good. Very expensive though. Check our hand size. We've got 3. We're all good. We move out of the upkeep phase. We go into the mythos phase, turn 6. We put a doom on the agenda. We're at 5 of 8 now. We're at 5 of 8. We're going to draw. Oh, sorry. At the end of my turn, sorry, I should have done Dark Future. At the end of your turn, reveal 5 random tokens from the Chaos bag. If a Elder Sign symbol is revealed, discard Dark Future. What I would have done is, because I've used Arbiter of Fates, I can still tap Jackie to use her ability. So I'm drawing 7 tokens. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7. So the first one is -3, -2, -1. Come on. Yes. Yes. There we go. 7 tokens. And I have revealed the Elder Sign symbol. So I get to discard Dark Future. Dark Future goes. Brilliant. Sorry, we go back. We're resetting our actions. Do all that. And then we're going to draw our encounter card. Our encounter card is Acrid Miasma. Revelation. Attached to the nearest location in a clockwise direction with no acrid miasma. Forced. After an investigator enters attached location, he or she tests will of 2. If they fail, they either take 1 damage and 1 horror, or resolve the hunter keyword for each enemy in play. And that's going to go here. Still no clues to be got. Okay, we move out of the mythos phase. We go to the investigation phase. Okay, first action. Investigate. I will use Jackie's ability, but I will tap Arbiter of Fates to draw 3 tokens. It's 3 versus 3. What have we got? I've got Book of Shadows. I really want to keep that. No, let's go. Do I use Book of Shadows? 4 versus 3. Here's a 4 cost asset. I'm going to use it. 4 versus 3, drawing 3 tokens. 4 versus 3. 1, 2, 3. 4 versus 3. -1. 0. -1. I'll ignore the two -1s. 0, so we do get a clue. We do get a clue. Oh, I've already got one clue on there. Sorry, should have taken that off, but we're on one clue now. I really would like 2 clues. So second action is to investigate. I'm going to use Jackie's ability again. I am just going 3 against 3 now. 3 against 3. 1, 2, 3. 3 versus 3. Well, I'll ignore the skull and I'll ignore the 0. I will take the +1, which means I pass. And I get my second clue. For the third and final action, I'm going to use the acts action to spend a clue. So I'm down to 1. I'll leave it at 1. To just look at this masked carnival goer. Not flipping him, I'm just looking. Innocent reveller. So we know there's an innocent reveller there for the time being. And that was my third and final action. That's quite handy. That's quite a productive turn, that. So we move out of that. We go into the enemy phase. The pole man is going to move to Streets of Venice. He is catching up with us. He's 4. 4 fight, 4 health. That's it for the enemy phase. The Carnevale Sentinel stays there. He has got retaliate. That's delightful. No other enemies in play. Just double checking. We go to the upkeep phase. We're going to ready all of our exhausted cards. Arbiter of Fate comes back online. We are going to gain a resource. So at 2 resources, going to draw a card. Voice of Ra. Very nice. Voice of Ra. And Voice of Ra has got it's got a willpower symbol on it. We've got 3 cards in hand, so we're all good. We're going to move out of the upkeep phase. We're going to move into the mythos phase of turn 7, and we're going to put another doom on the agenda. So we're now 6 of 8. And we're going to draw our encounter card, which is going to be Chaos in the Water. Test agility 4. Each investigator who controls an innocent reveller must perform this test. Well, it's just us. Each investigator who fails takes 1 damage, which must be assigned to an innocent reveller first. Oh, we've got an innocent reveller with us. We've got an agility of 4. Well, it's a test of 4. I'm agility 2. I will play a hypnotic gaze to take me to 3. And I will tap Arbiter of Fates as a reaction to use Jackie's ability. So I'm drawing 3 cards, 3 tokens, and it's 4 versus 3. 4 versus 3. I'll take. Oh, hang on a sec. I'm taking hypnotic gaze back. I'm not going to use that. I'm just going to go. I'm not going to use Arbiter of Fates either. No. Backtrack. I'm just going to go 2 versus 4. I'm going to fail. Just draw 1 card or 1 token. 0. We wouldn't have passed anyway, I don't think. And a damage is going to go to an innocent reveller. It's got 2, so she's got 1 left. Again, could have been worse. Okay. Go to the mythos phase. First action. Spend a clue. to flip over. So we're down to 0 clues. To flip over a carnival goer. We know it's an innocent reveller. And we're going to, second action is going to be to parlay with it. 3 versus 2. I will tap Arbiter of Fates to use Jackie's ability. Can't use anything from my hand. Nothing's got intellect symbols on it. So we're drawing 3 tokens and we're going 3 against 2. 1, 2, 3. First one is -6. Second one is a 0. Third one is a heart sign or an elder sign or whatever it is. So I'm going to ignore those 2 for 0, which means we get innocent reveller. So that's our second innocent reveller. Go. I was going to say we're going well, but I'm not going to say too much. Don't jinx it, MB. Don't jinx it. And then for my final action, I'm going to move across to here. Now, a few things happen. We'll take my acrid miasma off for a sec. We're going to just take these 2 off and we're going to flip Blooded Square. Oh my god. 4 Shroud, 1 clue per investigator. As an action, automatically evade a non-elite enemy at the location in a counterclockwise direction. Group limit once per turn. So that comes in with 1 clue. The Masked Carnival Goer is there. And also Acrid Miasma's there. So as we enter it, we're going to have to test a will of 2. If failed, they must either take 1 damage or 1 horror. Either take 1 damage and 1 horror or resolve the hunter keyword. So I'm going to be testing 6. 6 against 2. I'm not going to use Jackie's ability. Or do I? I might as well. Might as well. It's going to reset. So 1, 2, 3. We've got a -3, a -6, or a cultist. I will ignore the cultist and the -6. I am 6 versus 2. So -3 still pass. There. Oof. Right, that's it for the investigation phase. We're moving on to the enemy phase. The pole man is going to move around to the garden, Venetian garden. Carnival Central is going to stay where he is. That's it for the enemy phase. We move on to the upkeep phase. We get all of our cards back online. We gain a resource, so up to 3 resources. We draw a card. Nihilism. Put nihilism into play in your threat area. After you reveal, cancel, or ignore a auto fail token, take 1 damage and 1 horror. 2 actions to discard nihilism. So that's in play. That's not too bad. That's not too bad. Could come back to bite us. And that's it for the upkeep phase. We move into the mythos phase of round 8. We put a token on the agenda. We're up to 7 doom on the agenda, shall I say? Use the correct terminology. We check to see if the agenda trips. It doesn't. We draw our encounter card. Mesmerize. If there are no masked carnival goers at your location, it gains surge. There is one at our location. If there is a masked carnival goer at your location, flip it. If it's an innocent reveler, move it to the farthest location clockwise from you with no investigators. Then deal it 1 damage and 1 horror. Ouch. Right. What is this? It is Elizabeth Magro. She's humanoid, lodge, elite. She's aloof. And when you look at Elizabeth Magro using the ability on Act, well, we haven't. Force, when the mythos phase ends, plays 1 doom on Elizabeth Magro. She's got a victory of 1. She's aloof. But because of... now. Yeah, I don't think that works. So we've not used an action to flip this card. The card on the encounter deck has done that. So if the other side is an enemy attacks you, it doesn't come into play. So she's just going to sit there being fairly aloof with us. We do need to kill her. We do need to kill her. Right. So that's the end of the mythos phase. We move to the investigation phase. 1 doom goes on to Elizabeta. When the mythos phase ends, place 1 doom on her, which I've done. We are past the point of checking the agenda. That's point 2 of the mythos phase. Advanced agenda if the doom threshold is satisfied. We're past that. I mean, it is going to flip next turn anyway, but we don't do that now. So we've got 3 actions. We've got 3 actions. Well, first action from Jackie is to engage with Elizabeta. So let's bring her over here. She's got 3 fight. She's 4. She's 4 health. So second action is to fight her using the Uber shriveling. I'm using my will instead of my fight. I get +2, so I'm 8. I'm 8. Yeah, I'm 8 versus 4. 8 versus 3, sorry. 8 versus 3. Do I use Nila's? Do I use her ability? I am going to use Jackie's ability, but I am going to tap Arbiter of Fates, first of all, to draw 3 tokens. I'm just worried about nihilism, but we'll worry about that when we get to it. So drawing 3 tokens. First one is +1. Second one is a -1. Third one is the weird symbol. So those 2 are going to be ignored. We'll use the +1, which means I do 2 damage to Elizabeta. Third action is to fight using shriveling. I'm going to use the normal shriveling this time. +1. Or do I? I'm at 6. Yeah, I'm going to use that. I'm using the normal shriveling. I am going to use Jackie's ability. So I'm going 6 versus 3. 6 versus 3. Do I want to chuck anything in it? I am going to chuck. Do I? No, I'm not. 6 versus 3, drawing 3 tokens. 6 versus 3, drawing 3 tokens. 1, 2, 3. We've got, an auto fail. We've got that, and we've got that. Six versus 3. Now, bear with me while I think about this. I can. Yeah, I am gonna. Oh no. 6 versus 3. That's a -2. That's a -3. So I've got to. Yeah, I failed. Basically, I've failed. I've failed. Slightly frustratingly, I've failed. Anywho, that is it for my turn. We move out of the investigation phase, we move to the enemy phase. First thing in the enemy phase is the enemies with the hunter keyword move. So the pole man is going to move to there. Each engaged enemy attacks if able. So Elizabetha is going to do 1 damage and 1 sanity. I'll put the 1 sanity onto the Holy Rosary. And I'm going to risk it for a biscuit and put the 1 damage on the innocent reveler. Do I or don't I? Do I or don't I? Or do I take it on? No. I'm going to try and play safe-ish. I'm going to take it down off of Elizabeth, off of Jackie. So she's down to 5 health. Trying to keep those safe. Maybe the wrong move. Carnival Sentinel is staying there. So that's it for the enemy phase. We move to the upkeep phase. We ready any of our cards. We ready our actions. Jackie's ability comes back online. Arbiter of Fates comes back online. We gain a resource, so we're up to 4. 4 resources. We draw a card. Another Book of Shadows. Very nice. We've got the money to pay for it now. We move out of the upkeep phase. We move to the Mythos phase of round 9. We put a Doom on the agenda, which takes it to 8, which means we then advance the agenda if the Doom threshold is satisfied. Right, bear with me. Let's have a look at what we've got. We're going to move to agenda 1B, which is this one here. Baleful Reveler. It's a 4 fight, 5 health per investigator, so it's 5, 3 to evade. Humanoid cultist elite. Spawn the nearest location with no investigators counterclockwise from the lead investigator. So it is going to go at the Guardian. Forced. After Baleful Reveler moves from the Hunter keyword, reveal a random token from the Chaos bag. If you reveal any symbol, it resolves the Hunter keyword again. Limit once per round. It's got Victory of 2 on it, and it hits for 2 damage and 2 sanity. He is a bit of a beast. He is going to go here. So we move to agenda 2A. We're taking all the... we'll read that first. So agenda 2A says, the shadow of the eclipse. The clamour and celebration of the Carnival has for the most part drowned out the terrors you've seen in the city until now. The sun vanishes behind the moon and darkness overtakes the city. There is a solitary cry and the sound of crashing water. Within moments, screams erupt throughout the city, and yet somehow you see revelers still celebrating with wide, crazed smiles. And this has got 3 doom on it. Delightful. So we're going to remove all the doom. So back to 0 doom. Reset that. And then we carry on with the Mythos phase, which means we draw an encounter card from the top of the deck. Mass Hysteria. You must either take 2 damage or take each masked carnival goer, shuffle them so investigators do not know which is which, and place 1 in each location, starting with the location clockwise from you. I'm not taking 2 damage. At the moment, I don't know what that is, don't know what that is, don't know what that is, and don't know what that is. So it makes no difference to me because everything I've revealed, I know what it is. So let's do that rather than take 2 damage. So we'll grab that one, we'll grab that one, we'll grab that one, and we'll grab that one. We'll shuffle them. Oh, God, sorry. Ah, oh my God. Right, let's give these a good old mix up now. Difficult to shuffle 4 cards. Right. So clockwise location, 1 there, 1 there, 1 there. And now randomly 1 goes there. You don't place 1 there at setup, but there's nothing to stop you placing 1 there as you go around, I don't think. Yeah, no, it doesn't say you can't place 1 at the same marker. You just don't place 1 there when you start. Right. That's it for the Mythos phase. We go into the investigation phase. Flooded square. Let's just see what that does. Action: automatically evade a non-elite enemy at the location counterclockwise to you. Do you know what? I think I'm going to do that because I don't want the pole man and the baleful reveler both coming at me at the same time. So I will spend an action and I will exhaust and evade the pole man. That was my first action. Right, sorry, I've had to just reset a little bit. I've gone back a turn. I've gone back. I've put the clue back. I've moved myself back. I've unreadied the pole man or unexhausted the pole man. Baleful Revel is still there. Yeah, I think. Sorry about that. I completely forgot. I've got Elizabeth Magro, so I'm going back to my previous investigation phase. So my first action was to exhaust him. My second action was to move. My third action was to get the clue. I've reset all of those back. I've taken my clue off. So I'm back to first action. So first action is to attack Elizabeth Magro using Arbiter of Fates and Shriveling. I'm going to use the normal Shriveling. So I'm at 6 versus 3. Six versus 3. I'm going to chuck a Voice of Ra in to make it 7 versus 3. Seven versus 3, drawing 3 tokens. 7 versus 3. I'll ignore those two. 0, which means I do the +1 damage, 2 damage to Elizabeth. So she goes into our lovely little victory display down here. Oh, I'm glad I caught that. I'm glad I caught that just. So that was my first action. Then my second action is to then ignore or exhaust the pole man. Still going to do that. And then my third action is to move to the Bridge of Sighs, which means I don't get my clue. But I killed Elizabetha. Now we move back to the enemy phase. I'll do it all again just to be fair. Carnevale Sentinel hasn't got Hunter. Baleful Reveler has, so he is going to move. I will use Jackie's ability, as I did before, to draw 3 tokens. Ignoring 2. So we've got ignoring 2. We'll ignore that, and we'll ignore that. There's no symbol drawn, so Baleful Reveler doesn't move again. No other enemies in play. Elizabetha is gone. So we go to the upkeep phase. We're going to ready all of our actions, get our cards back online. Arbiter of Fates comes back online. We're going to get a resource, taking us to 5 resources. We're going to draw a card. Mists of Rylea. Use 4 charges. Spend a charge, evade. This evasion attempt uses will instead of agility. If you succeed after evading the chosen enemy, you may move to a collecting location. If a symbol is revealed during this evasion, choose and discard a card from your hand. All right. That's it for the upkeep phase. We move into the mythos phase. We go to round 10. We put a doom, 1 of 3, on the agenda. I'm wondering now whether we just peg it to San Marco Basilica, put the 2 innocent revelers underneath the San Marco Basilica. Anyway, let's finish off first. Let's finish off the mythos phase. So we check the agenda. That's not going to trip. We're going to draw our encounter card. Oh, sorry. Pole man should have readied in the upkeep phase. That's when he readies. We're going to draw our encounter card. Chaos in the Water. Test agility 4. Each investigator who controls an innocent reveler must also perform this skill test. Each investigator who fails take 1 damage, which must be assigned to an innocent reveler first if able. Agility 4 is not my strong point. If I had bloody Mr. Rylea out, we could be doing it. I could chuck Mr. Rylea and 2 hypnotic gazes into it to give me +3. It takes me to 5 versus 4, but I'm not going to. I am just literally going to do a straightforward test of 2 against 4. +1. +1. We still fail. And we have to put a damage on an innocent reveler, which is going to go on that one there. I think that's just sealed the deal for me. I need to get away from the Baleful Reveler, and I need to get to the San Marco Basilica. I think if I go for a 3rd innocent reveler, I could be being a bit greedy. So that's it for the mythos phase. We go to the investigation phase. All right, so for my first action, I'm going to move to the canal side. That's my first action. Flipping the canal side. 2 shroud, 1 clue. After you enter canal side, place 1 clue on canal side from the token bank. Okay. So it comes in with 1 clue, and as I've entered it, it gives me 1 clue. And then for my second action, I am going to pay for 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm down to 1 resource to play Book of Shadows. Gives me an additional arcane slot, and I can exhaust Book of Shadows to add 1 charge to a spell asset you control. And then for my third and final action, I'm going to play Uncage the Soul. Play a spell or ritual card from your hand, reducing its resource cost by 3. Mists of Rylea is a spell card. I'm going to play that. It costs 2, so it costs me 3. Comes in with 4 charges. And we're all good. Okay, that's it for the investigation phase. We're going to move on to the enemy phase. Right. Baleful Reveler is going to move there. I am going to tap Arbiter of Fates to draw 3 tokens. One, two, 3. Boom, boom, boom. We'll ignore the 2 -1s. No symbol drawn, so Baleful Reveler is not going to move any further. Poleman is going to move to the flooded square. Sentinel is going to stay where he is. There's no enemies engaged with us, so we're not going to worry about that. We haven't drawn Nihilism, so we haven't had to worry about that. That's it for the enemy phase. We move on to the upkeep phase. We're going to get Arbiter of Fates back online. We're going to gain a resource. We'll get our actions back. We're going to draw a card. Another Voice of Ra. I think that's it. We've got our resources, so up to 2 resources. We're going to move out of the upkeep phase. We're going to move into the mythos phase of round 11. We're going to put a doom on the agenda, so it's 2 of 3. And then we're going to draw our encounter card, which is going to be Abduction. Test will of 3. If you fail, you must lose all of your resources or choose and discard an ally asset you control. Well, I don't want to discard the familiar spirit. Okay, so will of 3. I'm 6. I'll chuck in a Voice of Ra to make it 7. I will tap Arbiter of Fates to do Jackie's ability. So drawing 2 cards, 3 tokens. 7 versus 3. 3 tokens. 1, 2, 3. We'll ignore that. We'll ignore that. -1, which means we pass. Don't have to worry about that. Excellent. We move on to the investigation phase. Okay. First action. To move to the Relato Bridge. Put her there for a second. A couple of things are going to happen. We'll flip the Relato Bridge. It's 2 shrouds, 1 clue per investigator, or 1 clue. After you leave Relato Bridge, lose 1 action. Okay. Masked Carnival Goer is going to stay there. The Carnevale Sentinel comes into play and attaches to me, engages with me because it's not got aloof. My second action, I'm going to do a Mists of Rylea. I'm going to attempt to evade it. This evasion attempt uses my will instead of my agility, and if you succeed after evading it, you may move to a connecting location. It's got an evade of 3. I've got a hypnotic gaze. I will be 6 versus 3. 6 versus 3. I will use Jackie's ability to draw 3 tokens. 6 versus 3. I'm not going to use it. I've got a hypnotic gaze there. I'm going to try it biscuit for a biscuit. 6 versus 3. 1, 2, 3. We've got a 0. We've got a skull, and we've got an auto fail. Now, I am going to ignore the auto fail, which means I'm going to take 1 damage and 1 horror. Um, 1 damage and 1 horror. I'm going to have to take that off both Jackie, so 1 and 1. So I'm down to 4 health and 8 sanity, but I do, that's a -2, which means I pass effectively. Because I was 6 versus 3, -2. And I can then move to the San Marco Basilica. But because Relato Bridge is in play, after you leave Relato Bridge, I lose an action, unfortunately. So that's my 3rd and final action of my investigation phase. Carnevale Sentinel becomes exhausted at the Relato Bridge. Really do need to think about getting rid of that nihilism. But there we go. That's it for the investigation phase. We're going to move on to the enemy phase. The Baleful Reveler is going to move. Poleman is going to move. I'm going to do the Baleful Reveler in a second. He's going to stay there, so we're going to draw a card. I've used all of my Arbiter of Fates and Jackie's ability, so I'm drawing 1 token. -1. That is not a symbol, so Baleful Reveler is going to stay where he is. That is it for the enemy phase. He's exhausted. That's moved. That's moved. We're all good. We move to the upkeep phase. We're going to get our actions back. We're going to get her ability back. We're going to get Arbiter of Fates back. We're going to gain a resource. We're going to go to 3 resources. We're going to draw a card. David Renfield. When he's got at least 1 doom on him, I get +1 will. And I can exhaust him to place a doom on him and gain a resource for each doom on David Renfield. He's got 2 health and 1 sanity, but I'm not going to replace the familiar spirit with him, so he'll just come into hand as a book icon, an intellect icon. We're going to ready the sentinel. Oh, for goodness sake, there we go. Sorry, OCD kicking in. That's it for the upkeep phase. Got my resources, drawn my card, readied everything. We're going to move into the mythos phase of rounding 12. We are going to put the third doom on the shadow of the eclipse, which means we're going to flip it. We are going to go to agenda 2B, which says the shadow of the eclipse is unrelenting. Throughout the city, a dull chant overtakes the screaming and chaos. Its language, ancient and morbid, tentacles course through the canals from the south, weaving beneath the bridges and trapping entire islands within their grasp. If there are one or more masked carnival goers in play, the lead investigator chooses one and flips it to its other side. If it's an innocent reveller, place it underneath the agenda deck. If there is a masked carnival goer, if there's still a masked carnival player in play, flip the agenda back to 2A. All right. So, which one are we going to flip? We've got 1, 2, 3, or 4. Do I do this one here? Do I do the one at the Basilica? Because if it is an innocent reveller, I could try and get hold of it and put them underneath the deck. If it's a enemy, it's going to engage me, but it's not going to attack me because I'm not spending the clue to flip it. So it will engage me, and then I can try and kill it. That's going to go back to 2A because there are still masked carnival goers in play. Risk it for a biscuit, MB? Let's risk it for a biscuit. Don Liago. 4 fight, 4 health, 3 to evade. Humanoid servitor, elite, hunter. While resolving the hunter keyword on Don Liago, his location is connected to the location in the counterclockwise direction as well as the clockwise direction. Victory 1 hits for 2. So he is going to come into play with me engaged. That could have been a mistake. We'll soon find out. We remove the doom, so we go back to 0. Let's just reset the doom. Back to 0, which we've done. And then we draw our encounter card. Acrid miasma. Attached to the nearest location with no acrid miasma. After I enter that location, I test Will of 2, and if I fail, then I take either 1 damage and 1 horror or resolve the hunter keyword. So that's going to go on Streets of Venice. Could have been worse. We go to the investigation phase. Well, first thing we need to do is try to take care of old Donny boy. It's going to take me 2 attempts to kill him. So, first action is to attack using Uber Shriveling. We will tab Arbiter of Fates to do Jackie's ability. I need to remember bloody ritual candles as well, because I get +1 if I draw a symbol. So three of them. We have got a -6. Oh my god, dropped 1. A cultist and a skull. We'll ignore the cultist and we'll ignore the -6. That's a -2. We're at 6. Well, no, we're at 8 because we get +2 from shriveling. 8 against 4 minus 2. We successfully hit him for 2. Second action is to do the same thing. And this time we'll tap her ability properly because we've used Arbiter of Fates. We'll use another point off of shriveling, Uber shriveling, drawing 3 tokens. One, 2, 3. We'll ignore that one. We'll ignore that one. We've got the 0 left, so we hit him again, which kills him. So Dawn is gone into our victory pile over there after killing him. And then for our Jackie's third action, she's going to put a innocent reveler underneath the act deck. So she is going to go underneath there, like so. Right. Okay, there's our 3 cards. We've got what we've got. We've got 2 hypnotic gazes and a David. Nihilism's causing me pain. Right, so let's go across to the enemy phase. Oh, enemy phase. Baleful Reveler is going to move. I'll come back and do him in a second. Old Man is going to move to the canal side. We need to draw a token for the Baleful Reveler. See what he does. No symbol, so he stays where he is. The Carnevale Sentinel stays where he is as well. He's not got Hunter or anything like that. He's got Retaliate. Okay. That's it for the enemy phase. We're going to move on to the upkeep phase. We're going to get our actions back. We're going to get our ability back. Arbiter of Fates is going to come back online. We're going to gain a resource to take us to 4. We're going to draw a card. Oh my God, Psychosis. Now this is where the game becomes the tail end of the game. Add Psychosis to your threat area. After you take 1 or more horror, take 1 direct damage. 2 actions to discard Psychosis. Delightful. So let's put that in play there. Got 2 weaknesses out now. And we've readied everything. Nothing's there. So we move out the upkeep phase. We're going to the Mythos phase of round 13. We're going to put a Doom, 1 of 3, onto the agenda. We're going to draw our card, which is going to be Mass Hysteria. Take 2 damage, or take each masked carnival goer, shuffle them so each investigators do not know which is which, and place in each location, starting with the location clockwise. Actually, that works really well for us. That actually works really well. I'm not taking the 2 damage. I am going to shuffle up the masked carnival goers, because they were all over here. Blimey. Finally, something decent happens. We'll move those around. It says, place 1 in each location, starting with the location clockwise from you. So 1's going to go here, 1's going to go there, and 1's going to go there. Very handy. Very handy indeedy. We move out of the Mythos phase. We go to the investigation phase. First action. Put an innocent reveler underneath the act. So we'll move this innocent reveler to here. So we've got 2 under the act now. We're going to tap the Abyss. Got no clues though, that's the problem. We're going to tap the abyss to move across to the streets of Venice. A couple of things are going to happen. First of all, we've got to do acrid miasma. Testing a will of 2. Testing a will of 2. Now, do we play... No, we don't. We're just going to go straight. 2 versus 5. 6 for the Holy Rosary. 2 versus 6. 2 versus 6. Cultist, reveal another token. I am getting +1 because of ritual candles, so I'm now 7. 7 versus 2. -1. We pass. We don't take any damage. Finally remembered ritual candles. I am going to use the streets of Venice's free action to move to a location clockwise. So I'm going to move to the Venetian Gardens. And that's got a clue on it. So for my second action, I'm going to investigate and I'm going to use Arbiter of Fates. 3 versus 3. Have I got anything? I can chuck a David Renfield in to make it 4 versus 3, drawing 3 tokens. Two, 3. 4 versus 3. I'll ignore the 2 skulls, -1, which means we get the clue. So we've now got 1 clue. One action left. I don't want to flip the masked carnival goer yet, just in case it's an enemy. Balfour Reveler is only going to move 1 there, potentially 2 to there, and then he'll stop. Poleman will move to there. I think we're in a good spot. So for my third action, I'm going to draw a card. Clairvoyance. Here we go. Here we go. That's good. That's good. So that's it for my investigation phase. We move to the enemy phase. Balfour Reveler is going to move. I'll come back and do him in a second. Poleman is going to move. We'll do the Balfour Reveler's thingamajig. Now, do I take a risk and use Jackie's ability? Bearing in mind, if I reveal the auto fail, it's going to move anyway. After I reveal it, I'm going to take 1 damage and 1 horror. And I'm going to, well, I'll effectively take 2 because of psychosis. So I'm just going to take the 1 token. Going to take the 1 token, risk it for a biscuit. -3. No symbol, so he doesn't move. That's it for the enemy phase. Got no other enemies in play. We move to the upkeep phase. We're going to ready everything. So we get our actions back. We get our Arbiter of Fates back. The Abyss is going to ready. we're going to get another resource, so up to 5 resources. And we're going to draw a card. We've got ward of protection. Very nice. Very nice. We've only got 4 cards in hand, so we're good. Going to come out of the upkeep phase. We're going to go into the mythos phase of round 14. We're going to put a doom on the agenda. Takes us to 2 of 3. We're going to draw our encounter card, knowing that we've got ward of protection. We've got a treachery. Either take 2 horror or move to the location across from you. So we'd have to move down here into Baleful Reveler's territory or take 2 horror. So what I will do is I'll pay 1 for a ward of protection. It's a treachery card. Cancel that card's effect, then take 1 horror. No, still going to do it. So I take 1 horror. And then psychosis comes into play. After you take 1 or more horror, take 1 direct damage. So I'm down to 2. Ouch. We're starting to get to the tail end of the game now. Has to take direct damage. This is where these treacheries are coming back to... these weaknesses are coming back to bite me now. But at least we're not engaged with the Baleful Reveler. We're going to move across to the investigation phase. I think here is a turn of trying to minimize stuff. So I am going to spend 2 actions to discard psychosis. Final action. I'm going to exhaust Book of Shadows to add a charge to a spell, and I'm going to add it to the Uber Shriveling. And that's it for the investigation phase. We move on to the enemy phase. Baleful Reveler is going to move round. Poleman is going to move round. Sentinel is going to stay where he is. Now we get to decide what we're going to do with Baleful Reveler. We've got Arbiter of Fates on. I am going to risk it for a biscuit to exhaust Arbiter of Fates to do the 3 tokens for Baleful Reveler. Oh, how did that get in there? That. I am going to ignore both of those. That is not a symbol that triggers Baleful Reveler. It's only the skull, the cultist, the auto fail, the tablet, and also the heart. So that doesn't count. So Baleful Reveler doesn't move. He stays there. Come out of the enemy phase. We go into the upkeep phase. We get all of our actions back. We get Arbiter of Fates and Book of Shadows back online. We gain a resource. We're up to 5. Shouldn't have been there. We are going to draw a card. Another David Renfield. We've got 4 cards in hand. We're all good. We move out of the upkeep phase. We move to the mythos phase of round 15. We put a doom, which means we move to agenda 2B. which we know what that means, but we'll read it just in case. So if there's one or more masked carnival goers in play, the lead investigator chooses one and flips it to its other side. We are going to choose this one. And this is Salvatore. He becomes engaged with us, but he doesn't attack us because we haven't spent the clue to flip him. That's the way I'm reading that. He only attacks you if you flip him via a clue. That's the way I'm playing it. If there's still a masked carnival goer in play, which is one there and one there, we flip it back to agenda 2A. We take all the doom off. And we then draw our card. Chaos in the water. Test agility 4. Each investigator who controls an innocent blah, blah, blah. We're going to take 1 damage if we fail it. God. Agility 4. I am going to have to chuck in both hypnotic gazes. So it's an even test. It is an even test, and I'm going to tap in Arbiter of Fates to pull 3 tokens. So it's 4 versus 4. 4 versus 4. 3 tokens. We'll ignore those 2. +1 for that means we win. But we don't cancel it or ignore it. We're not drawing a card, but we don't take the damage. Wowzers. Oh, down to 2 and down to 6. Sorry, on the horror and the damage. We move across to the investigation phase. Oh, this goes to 0 as well. Doom goes to 0. I don't need to do that. First action, move across to the Guardian. No. First action, fight Salvatore. Now, Salvatore Neri, he's got a question mark for his fight and a question mark for his agility. I'll come back to that in a second. He's got 3 health. He's got retaliate. Salvatore Neri's fight value is equal to the attacker's base fight, and his evade value is equal to the base of evade. So my base fight is 2, which is very nice. I'm going to hit him. I am going to hit him with an Uber shriveling. My first action. So I'm currently fight 8 against 2. I'm not going to use Jackie's ability. 8 against 2. -1. We do 2 damage to him. I am then going to, second action, to fight him again with an Uber shriveling. Taking my last one off the shriveling. 8 versus 2. 8 versus 2, -2. There's no revelers underneath the agenda. So we do the last point of damage to him. Or we do two damage, but he's only got 1 left. So he goes into our victory pile. And for my third action, I'm going to move across to the Guardian. That's it for the investigation phase. We move on to the enemy phase. Balfour Reveler is going to move. Poleman is going to move. Carnevale Sentinel is going to stay there. We're going to do the draw for the Baleful Reveler. I'm just going to do it straight. -3, no symbol. He doesn't move. That's it for the enemy phase. We move to the upkeep phase. We get our actions back. We get Arbiter of Fates back. We get a resource. So we're now 6. We draw a card. It's of Rylea. 3 cards in hand. We're fine. Done that. Everything's not. Yeah, that's all done. We move to the Mythos phase of round 16. We put the Doom on the agenda. We draw a card. Watcher's Gaze. Test 4. Each investigator fails takes a horror. Okay. We've got 4. We're at 6. None of these help. I can take the horror. So we're at 4 versus 6. Remembering ritual candles. 4 versus 6. -2, but we get +1 because we've revealed a skull. So 7 versus 4 -2. We pass. We don't take the horror. We move on to the investigation phase. First action. Spend the clue to flip this masked carnival goer. That was a bad move. That was a bad move. So he comes into play. He attacks us for 1 and 1. So down to 5 sanity, 1 health. Oh dear. 1 health, 5 sanity. Oh, he's got 5. He's got 5 bloody health. I think that's game. I think that's game. No, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not, MB. Park yourself. My second action, I'm going to spend a point of Mr. Rylea to do the evade using my will instead of my agility. I will tap Arbiter of Fates to draw 3 tokens, cancelling 2. 1, 2, 3. Oh, God. That's it. That's the game. And the reason for that is nihilism. Come back to bite me. After you reveal, cancel, or ignore a auto fail token, take 1 damage and 1 horror. Jackie takes her last point of damage. She takes 1 point of horror. I could ignore that, leaving those 2, which would be -3. I would have passed. But Jackie's dead because of nihilism. Should have got rid of that earlier. Oh, that was going so well. That was going so well. Oh, I was really enjoying that. Oh, this game. Should have got rid of nihilism earlier. Just didn't have the actions. Should have prioritised it. Anywho, let's read what... so I'll read it, what it says. So if no resolution was reached, in brackets, each investigator was defeated or was defeated, you sputter awake as an oar gently taps your shoulder. Tout bien? The gondolier, holding the oar, says with a concerned expression. You nod and drag yourself onto the docks from his gondola, drenched and aching all over. The city is devastated. Most of the boats in the canal are wrecked, and the streets are covered not in confetti, but in blood. In your campaign log, which doesn't affect us, record that many were sacrificed to the Indithica during the Carnevale. Each investigator gains experience equal to the victory value of X, depending on the. So we'd have got 3 victory points. Move 1 innocent reveler from underneath the act deck to underneath the agenda deck if able. So we'll do that. That moves to there. And then it says proceed to additional rewards. Additional rewards. In player order, each investigator may choose one of the following mask cards to add to his or her deck. Pantalone. We're not gonna do this because it's not fair. If there are no innocent revelers underneath the act deck, and at least 1 under the agenda deck, proceed to sacrifice mode. If there are no innocent revelers under the agenda deck and 3 under the act deck, proceed to abyss satisfied. Well, there's neither of those because I've got 1 under there and 1 under there. So that's it. There we go. Going so well. And nihilism caught up with us in the end. But that's Arkham Horror for you. Very difficult to win properly. But again, thoroughly enjoyed playing it. Got close. So let's, I'll pause the video. I'll amend the scenario tracker and then we'll have a very, very quick roundup. Okay, here we are across at the scenario tracker. You can see I'll put in Jackie's bits and bobs. So she got 3 XP, same as what Zoe did, but she did lose. And she managed to get to round 16, whereas Zoe got to round 19. So we've got a 25% win rate at the moment. Played 4, lost 3, won 1. 25% win rate, I think, for Arkham Horror. Feels about right, maybe slightly higher would be good. So let's see what scenario is going to be playing next. I think I'm going to go to something a little bit newer for the next round for Zoe and Jackie. Jackie's going to be going up first, and she's going to be going across to the Excelsior Hotel. well, we're going to be playing that scenario. So that's the next one up on this playlist. So Jackie's going to be playing Murder at the Excelsior Hotel. So I look forward to seeing you on that one. Thank you very much to the subscribers. Thank you for watching. Really appreciate it if you could like, comment. As I edit the video, I know I'm going to be going through and making notes of where I've gone wrong. But any comments would be really grateful, appreciated. Really enjoying playing this, and I will look forward to seeing you on the next one. Anyway, ta-ra for now.